ॐ यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रणोति तस्मै तं देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब पदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Read chant from the verse 15. Jnana yajnena chapyanye yajanto mam upasate ekatvena pruthatvena bahudha vishvato mukham aham kraturaham yajñah svadhaham aushadham mantrohamahmevajyam ahamagniraham hutam पिताहमस्य जगतः माता धाता पितामहः वेद्यं पवित्रमोङ्कारः ऋक्सामयजुरेव च गतिर्भर्ता प्रभुः साक्षी निवासः शरणं सुहृत् प्रभवः प्रलयस्थानम् निधानं बीजमव्ययम् तपाम्यहमहं वर्षम् निगृह्णाम्यत्सृजामि च अमृतं चैव मृत्युश्च सदसच्चाहमर्जुन। So in all these verses, Lord Krishna reveals how He is Sarvatma, He is the self of all. And therefore He can be worshipped in any way. So my devotees, Jnana Yajnena Chapyanye Mam Upasate. These are the devotees of mine who worship me by the yajna of jnanam, where jnanam itself becomes a yajna, the sacrifice, where ignorance is offered. Thus they see me. They see me as the self of all. They see me as kratu, as yajna, as all these various things that are described. Amrutam chaiva mrityuscha. Even amrutam, immortality also I am. Mrityuscha, the death also I am. Sadasachaham Arjuna, Sat also I am, Asat also I am. Sat means that which is, Asat means that which is not. All of that I am. Or Sat means gross, Asat means subtle, that way. Or Sat means effect, Asat means cause. So in this manner, they see me everywhere. So these are my devotees who see me. So this is a worship in the form of seeing. The most exalted form of worship is to see the Lord. So, ekatvena, prusatvena, bahudha, vishvatomukham. Some of them worship me by the knowledge that I am their very self. Some of them worship me by the knowledge that I am different from them. They worship me as a master and the servant they are. Or some of them worship me as manifest in all these different forms. So these are the devotees described here. These are the devotees who worship the Lord nishkamataya, without any desire in their mind. That is, without seeking any reward for this worship. And so they worship me for the sake of myself. So there are other devotees, however, who worship me because they have something else in mind. So that's called sakama bhakti. Bhakti or worship of Lord, nishkama bhakti and sakama bhakti. As you said, worship the Lord for the sake of Lord. I don't want anything from Him other than Himself. There are others, however, who worship me because they have certain other purpose in mind, because they want some other worldly ends. So in the next two verses, Lord Krishna describes those devotees of His. They are also devotees, but what you call sakama bhaktaha, those who worship me with certain because they want certain desires to be fulfilled. In this case, they want the desire to be fulfilled for going to Swarga. Swarga stands for all the pleasures. Swarga is a realm of experience where all pleasures are available. I guess another Kuwait or something like that, I don't know. Swarga. Swargadim prarthayante, or United States or whatever. So what is sakama bhakta? So they are also devotees. What happens to them? So previous are the devotees who, being nishkama bhakta, they are devotees worshipping Lord without any kamana, without any desire. Therefore they ultimately get liberated. But how about these people who worship Lord for fulfilling desires? What happens to them? Lord Krishna says, they remain in samsara alone. So how they remain in samsara? That is described in the next two verses, 20 and 21. Traividyamam somapah putapapah yajñairištva svargatim prarthayante te punyamasadya surendra lokam ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan. Ye punah ajñaha, kama kamaha, these are ignorant people, desirous of various ends. Lord Krishna said in the second chapter, Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana bahushakha hinantascha buddhaya avyavasayina. There are those who have done vyavasaya, those who have done nischaya in their life, and thus they have understood that there is only one goal in life, and that is limitlessness, that is God. For them there is only one goal and their whole life is dedicated towards achievement of that purpose. But others who have not made that, who have not discovered that, those who have not developed that understanding, they have a number of goals. When goal is not one, then the goals are infinite. Because they think that, well, let me achieve a certain goal, I'll be fine, you achieve that, then some other goal presents itself before you. And you achieve that, yet another goal presents itself before you. Well, limitless is not the goal. If I am seeking something limited in life, then when I achieve that limited end, I realize that there is not quite what I want, and therefore my mind then wants something else, which is also limited. When I achieve that, I discover there is not quite what I want. This is kama kamaha, people who are desiring various desirable ends. And there is no end to that. Because a limited thing can never satisfy a human being. So those that vyavasaya, that nischaya, that conviction has not developed in one's life, that what I am seeking is limitless, that I cannot be satisfied with anything other than limitless. When that conviction has not come, when a person still hopes that, oh, let me get Swarga and I'll be fine, let me get $1 million, I'll be fine, let me get this position, I'll be fine, let me get this power, I'll be fine. Thus, thinking that some of those things will satisfy him, will give him fulfillment, they keep on desiring them and working hard for them. They achieve them and discover that that is not quite what they wanted, and then they go for something else. And this is how, from one end to the other, from one accomplishment to the other accomplishment, then just life keeps on going. So here also are these devotees who will not have that conviction, and therefore they think that attainment of Swarga is the goal of life. That is attainment of pleasures. Swarga stands for all the pleasures. So Lord Krishna describes these people who are devotees. Trevidyaha mam somapaha putapapaha yajnaihi ishtva swargatim prarthayante. Trevidyaha, the knowers of the three Vedas, because in the Vedas various rituals are described, and many rituals for going to heavens, etc. are described, like Jyotishtoma, Agnish, these rituals are described. Or Somayaga is also one of the yagas. So Somapaha, people who drink Soma juice. What is meant here is, Somayaga is a yaga or a ritual in which Soma, the deity Soma, is worshipped, or that in which yaga the Soma rasa is being offered to the Devata. And the general tradition is that, having performed that yaga, having made all the offerings to the Devatas as stipulated, whatever remains there is taken as prasada. Like when we perform the worship also, we offer naivedya to the Lord, and then that we partake that as prasada. In this case, the Soma rasa has been extracted from a Soma creeper, and that Soma is offered with, into the yaga as stipulated, and then whatever remains is taken as prasada. So you take that prasada, you drink that Soma. So that person who drinks that Soma is called Somapa. Somam pibantiri Somapaha. Somapaha, those who drink Soma. The idea is that those who perform Soma Yaga, that's what is meant here. Those who take prasada, that means they have performed Satyanarayana Puja. That's the idea. You don't get prasada without performing puja. So those people who drink a lot of prasada, who eat a lot of prasada, that means those people who perform lots of pujas. So Somapaha, those who are drinking Soma juice, that means that those who are performing the Soma Yagas. Putapapaha, yajnaihi ishtva, swargatim putapapaha. See, as a result of performing these rituals, putapapaha, their sins also get washed out, and thus they gain a certain purity of the heart. Yajnaihi ishtva, mam ishtva, they worship me through the various yajnas or yagas such as Soma Yaga, etc. Swargatim prarthayante. What is it that they pray for? What is that they desire? Swargatim, swargagamanam. Swar means swarga. Swargatim, swargagamanam. As a result of performing all these rituals, what they desire is attainment of heavens. Lord Krishna says they don't desire me. What they desire through me, they worship me all right. But they worship me for the sake of Swarga. They don't really worship God, they worship Swarga. That means they worship the desirable end, and God becomes a means of attainment of the desirable end. Now, when we go to different kind of so vratas we have, that if my son has a male child, I'll make certain offering to Lord Tirupati. Now my son has a male child, I go and make an offering to Tirupati. Looks like I'm a devotee of Tirupati, but really I'm a devotee of my grandchild, because I wanted that. Lord Tirupati just becomes a means of attainment of the grandchild. Is it not so? Oh, if this business venture goes successful, I'll make this much offering to Lord Guruvayu. Fine. The business venture is successful, I make an offering to Guruvayu. I weigh myself with something, whatever. But am I a devotee of Guruvayu? I'm really a devotee of my business venture, is it not so? The Swargatim prarthayante. They perform these elaborate rituals. And performing rituals is not easy at all. It's a very demanding thing. You have to follow many vratas also for performing rituals. That means they work very hard. and performing different rituals. But Swargatim Prarthayante, they, as a result of that desire for attainment of heavens, they could have performed the same yaga as an offering to the Lord, and they would have gotten what we call Antahkarana Shuddhi or inner purification. But they don't desire that. They want Swarga. And Swarga they do get. So, Puta Papaha, they are those who attain. So when we perform these rituals, then we get punya. Te punyamasadya surendra lokam. Surendra loka. Surendra means Indra. Surendra loka means heavens. So punyam surendra lokam asadya. As a result of the punya that they acquired by performing these various rituals, they do get Swarga loka. So two kinds of punya is there. One is a kind of punya that qualifies me for pleasures like Swarga, etc. Other is a kind of punya that qualifies me for moksha. So this should be understood. Puta papaha, those people whose papas or sins have been removed. But when you perform any action of worship, it may be ritual or any action of worship, when that action is performed or ritual is performed with a motive of fulfilling certain desire, then as a result of performing the ritual, I do get punya. What does that punya do to me? That punya qualifies me for the experience of that pleasure. Because even to experience the pleasures of the Swarga, we require certain qualification. You can't, for going to Swarga, you must have certain punya so that you go to Swarga and attain that kind of an upadhi. And the pleasures available in Swarga require a certain kind of upadhi, which is what you get as a result of performing this yaga. So you do get punya, but that punya only qualifies you for experiencing the pleasures of Swarga. It's the punya that takes you up, but then brings you down. Two kinds of punya is there. One is the punya that takes you up, brings you down. Other is the punya that takes you up forever. If the same yaga was performed without any desire, then also punya would have been acquired. What would that punya have done? That punya would have purified my heart and thus made me a adhikari, given me the yogyata or the qualification of knowledge. Ultimately that punya would have become means for moksha. So any kind of an action we perform can become a means of pleasure or can also become means of moksha. Unfortunately, they do not know this. They do not know. The Lord Krishna has said this again and again. Durena hyevaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharamanvichya krupanaha phalahetavaha. Here Arjuna, an action performed in nishkama karma, an action performed purely as an offering to the Lord out of devotion, that action is much, much more superior to an action performed with a selfish desire. And we'll discuss that as we go along also. But these people do not have viveka or discrimination. They do not know what is the value of their karma. What can karma achieve for them? If you want, karma can achieve us moksha. That is, karma can become a means of attainment of limitless, if we so want. But if we don't have that viveka or discrimination, then we use that karma merely for fulfillment of small, limited desires. So here are those devotees who perform these rituals of karma for fulfillment of desire of Swarga. They do go to Swarga. Te punyamasadya surendra lokam. So as a result of this punya, they go to surendra loka Swarga. Ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan. So divyan bhogan ashnanti. They enjoy what we call the divine pleasures. Deva bhogan. Those pleasures which are only available to devatas, they also enjoy them because they also attain the upadhi of devatas and enjoy the pleasures of Swarga. And for Swarga you can substitute anything. For Swarga you can substitute Kuwait. You can substitute United States or Chandraloka or something like that. For Swarga we can substitute anything. In short, pleasure. Fine, they do attain that pleasure. Then what happens to them? The next verse says that. te tam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam क्षीणे पुण्ये मर्त्यलोकं विशन्ते एवं त्रयी धर्ममनुप्रपन्नाः गतागतं कामकामा लभन्ते तेतं विशालं स्वर्गलोकं भुक्त्वा, having enjoyed that vast heaven, Vishalam Swargalokam. So their punya qualified them to go to Swargaloka. And Vishalam Swargalokam Bhaktva, having enjoyed the pleasures of that vast Swargaloka or the heaven, Kshine Punya. But that Swargaloka is like a holiday home or like a holiday resort, a 5-star holiday resort, let us say. And so you go to Hawaii, or go to whatever other resorts, Bahamas and whatever, with a lot of money in your pocket. Stay there in a 5-star hotel and enjoy the pleasures of the beach, and you can do the boating and surfing and whatever else. How long? As long as there is money in your pocket. So when you go to that resort, you are received like you are a king. When the money is exhausted, the very same people who received you, that very same people will be happy to throw you out. And so you can live in those places as long as you have money in your pocket. So this punya karma also is like that. You go to Swarga, so you perform various rituals or religious actions. Here we perform differently. Satyanarayana Puja we perform, or Vishnu Sahasranam Archana we perform, other kind of things we perform. These days we don't perform this yaga, we perform other rituals. But the scheme is the same. As long as these rituals are performed with the desire to attain a certain limited end, we do that, attain that. These rituals generate a punya, and that punya is deposited in our account, and that punya will result into attainment of our desired end. Yes. But then, when that saving in the form of punya is exhausted, Shine punya martilu, that punya gives rise to result and gets exhausted. However, when we perform the religious actions without any desire, we live up to God. We say, God, you do what you want. That is the best policy in our life, really. Instead of our desiring things, it is better that we leave that judgment to God. He is omniscient. I am a person with a limited understanding of life, and I think that this is what is most desirable for me. It's only when I achieve that desirable thing, then I realize that this is not what I want. Instead of that, if I had left that judgment to God, here it is, this is my offering. You do what you want with it. Then He is omniscient, at the same time He is benevolent. So He knows what is best for me, and He will do what is best for me. If I have that trust. It's not that easy, but if I have that trust. Only when that trust is there, then alone nishkama karma is possible. Otherwise not possible. But anyway, these are devotees performing sakama karma. Evam trayi dharma manuprapannaha. And thus following the trayi dharma, following the dharma of the Vedas, following the dharma of these rituals, following the dharma of sakama karma. Gata gatam kama kama labhante. This kama kamaha. Kaman kamyante the kama kamaha. These fellows who are only desirous of various pleasures, these people who are only desirous of limited ends, gata gatam labhante, gata gatam, yata yatam. Swami Dayan used to tell us in Rishikesh there was a bus line called yata yata. Yata going, ayata coming. Or gata gata, gata going, agata coming. There is a go to Swarga, come back here. Go to Swarga, come back here. There are many people who live life like that. They work for the whole year and they save money so that at the end of the year they can enjoy the vacation. I will go to Hawaii. Next year, the Bahamas. Third year, Australia. Fourth year, New Zealand. And whatever. He works for the whole year to save so that he can have vacation. Having enjoyed vacation, he is back to the salt mines. Again hard work. For what? So that he can save and enjoy the vacation. And what happens is, when you go to Hawaii and when you enjoy the pleasures, then you won't do them again. So it depends on what kind of samskaras we have in the mind. These people who go to Swarga and enjoy the pleasures of Swarga have the samskara of that bhoga. So when they are born again as human beings, they are born with the same samskaras, and therefore those samskaras create the same kind of desires in their mind. Is it not so? Having enjoyed that pleasure, I would desire that again. And therefore in their life they would never want to, they would never even think of anything greater than merely pleasure seeking. They think that that is the ultimate goal in life. So samskaras are very important. If you have samskaras or impressions or vasanas of the pleasures, then those samskaras create the same kind of desires. So they are born again with the same kind of desires for enjoying Swarga. Again they perform rituals, work hard for the whole of their life. For what? Going to Swarga. As a result of that, they acquire punya, go to Swarga, enjoy the pleasures, come back. Again perform rituals. Gata gatam kama kama labhante. Kurvate karma bhogaya karma kartum dabhunjare. It is said in Panchadashi. This person, we once asked one fellow who is splitting wood, the woodcutter. We asked him, hey, why are you splitting wood? Oh, Swamiji, so that I can get food. And when he was eating, I asked him, why are you eating food? So that I can cut wood. So you are cutting wood so that you can eat. You are eating so you can cut wood. Kurvate karma bhogaya. He performs karma so that he can have pleasures. Karma kartum tu bhunjate. He has pleasures so that he can perform karma. Nadyam Gītā ivavartat avartantaramashute. Like in a river. See, the stream of river is flowing and there are these worms who are also swept in the current of the river. Then they come across a whirlpool. And this poor little insect or worm gets trapped in that whirlpool and suffers, and then again comes out of the whirlpool, again to go into another whirlpool, from one whirlpool to the other whirlpool. This is how Nadyam Gītā ivavartat avartantaramashuvai. Vrajanto janmano vrajante janmano janma. From one birth to the other, this is their lot. Naiva labhante naiva nivrutim. They never get a respite from this. So gata gatam labhante. Nadu swatantram kvachita. They never attain the freedom which is the desirable end. That they never attain. So in these two verses, Lord Krishna described his sakama bhaktas. Says sakama bhaktas are bhaktas all right, but they never get liberated in life. They always remain dependent upon the pleasures, and they keep on seeking pleasures, attaining pleasures, working for pleasures, and this is their life. These two verses are told, these sakama bhaktas are described to contrast them with the nishkama bhakta, which are bhaktas which are described in the verse 22. So that is more important for us. This is also important, so that we know what not to do. The scriptures have to tell us both the things. Athato dharma jignasa. That's the first aphorism of Dharma Shastra. Now we will commence a deliberation upon dharma. Athato dharma jignasa. So those who know Sanskrit a little bit, Sandhis, they know that Athato dharma jignasa. You can also see that an a is there which is elided. Athata adharma jignasa. So the scriptures also tell us what adharma is, so that we can avoid that. So in Bhagavad Gītā also from time to time we find a sort of a ninda or condemnation of certain things, so that we know what to avoid, and praising of other things, so that we know what to take up in our life. So these two verses were told to contrast the Nishkama Bhakta in the verse 22. This is one of the most important verses of Bhagavad Gītā. We said in chapter 9, some very beautiful and very well-known verses are there. This is one of them. And chapter 9 is in the middle of Bhagavad Gītā, 18 chapters. So this verse follows almost in the middle of the Gītā also. In that sense also this 9th chapter enjoys a certain importance in the Gītā. The verse says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Ananyaha chintayantah mam ye janaha paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahami aham. Who are these bhaktas? Ananyaha. Anya, ananya. Na vidyate anyaha yesham de ananyaha. Those for whom this God is not separate. Those who do not look upon God or Lord as separate from them. Param Devam Narayanam Atmatvena Gataha. So Lord Narayana or Lord, whatever name you give, is not looked upon as separate from them. Atmatvena Gataha. So this verse describes the most exalted devotees of the Lord, who have known Lord as their very self. They are called Ananyaha. This is also very important. Very often people tell us, Swamiji, we are found to follow the bhakti, path of bhakti. I am quite satisfied in worshipping my Lala, my Thakurji or my God. And birth after birth, I would like to have, the same kind of bhakti so that I can serve my Lord, I can worship my Lord and gain the pleasure of worshipping Him. We don't want jnana. We don't want liberation. So one very famous poet saint of Gujarat also has sung, Harina janato mukti namage, mage janmo janam avatar. So the devotees of Lord, they don't want liberation. They want to be born again and again so that they can worship the Lord forever. I asked them, you want to worship the Lord, that is fine, and you want to get the pleasure of seva of the Lord, that is wonderful. That's wonderful. But you want to enjoy that seva, isn't it? Yes. So what is that helps you to enjoy that seva? Is it not that when you are worshipping your near and dear one, suppose you are worshipping, you are serving your beloved, is it not that the intensity of the joy grows as you come closer to the beloved? As the distance between you and the beloved becomes less and less, and you come closer and closer to your object of love, is it not that your enjoyment of that beloved becomes more intense? And is it not therefore you want that even your seva also should ultimately culminate into the infinite joy? And therefore that seva also can culminate in infinite joy when there is no distance between you and the Lord whom you worship. So love has its fulfillment when when those two who love each other, when there is a total union between them, that is the culmination of love. And therefore, even the devotee also ultimately wants, even they always quote Mirabai. Swamiji, what about Mirabai? But even look at life of Mirabai. What happened to Mirabai at the end? She merged into the Lord. That is the story. She went to Dwarika and merged into the Lord. And if you listen to Mirabai's songs or her bhajans, you can see how she is suffering from that pang of separation. She doesn't want that separation from the Lord. The fulfillment of love is when there is total oneness with the object of my love. And that is what we call moksha, when the Lord is not separate from me. Why do you want to retain a separation? But they are afraid that, Swamiji, if Lord is my own self, then whom will I worship? Whom shall I serve? I can't worship myself. I can't serve myself. But what do you mean worship? By worship, do you mean a certain ritual? Is that what is meant by worship? Or the spirit that goes behind that ritual is called worship? And that's all we are saying, that very spirit of worship culminates into what? Ultimately oneness. That means that your very being becomes worship. Right now you only have to make an effort to worship the Lord in order to establish a connection. But when you are one with the Lord, that connection is already established, and therefore even an effort is not needed to worship the Lord. And the rasaswada, the joy that you get by worshipping the Lord, becomes your very nature. Raso vaisaha. So Dayanandi explains this very nicely. He says, they say that we want to enjoy sugar, we do not want to become sugar. If I become sugar, I cannot enjoy sugar. Therefore, I want to enjoy sugar. But who says that? If someone who is not sugar says that, it is fine. But if suppose sugar says that, sugar says, I want to enjoy sugar, I don't want to become sugar, does it make sense? Similarly, you happen to be Narayana. This Narayana and Narayana are not different. Krishno dhananjayasyatma, Krishnasyaatma dhananjaya. Krishna is the Atma of Dhananjaya and Dhananjaya is the Atma of Krishna. This Nara, Narayana, they appear to. In fact, they are one alone. And therefore, that is the culmination of devotion. When no distance remains whatever between myself and the Lord of whom I am a devotee. And so, this is culmination of Ananyaha. So, Mam, Param Devam Narayanam Atmatvena Gataha. Those people who know Deva Narayana as their very self. Ananya. Chintayantaha. So what happens? Then even that spruha of enjoying the company of the Lord, that even final spruha also goes away. This is totally nispruha. So these are the devotees who are totally free from any spruha at all. And that alone makes sense. As I said, when I can get the infinite, then why should I settle for anything limited? So Lord is infinite, and those who discover that infinite is the very self, Mam Chintayantaha, all the time thinking about me. Now when can I think about Lord all the time? If Lord is separate from me, I cannot think of Him all the time. The only way I can think of the Lord all the time is when Lord is my own self, because my self is there, Atma is there, which is always revealing itself. It is self-effulgent, and therefore I don't even have to make an effort to think about Atma, because Atma I am. In the pitch darkness, I asked this person, hey, who is there? I am there. How do you know you are there? I am there, I know. Can you see yourself? No, I can't see myself. So still I know I am there. So for me to be there, or for me to know that I am there, is it necessary? Hey, are you there? Let me see. Let me test myself to verify whether I am there or not. Is it necessary for me to touch myself to verify that I am there? Or let me think whether I am there or not. Is it necessary to think that to determine whether I am there or not? That I am there is a self-revealing fact, is it not? The thinking comes later on. The touching comes later on. First, I must be there. So therefore, to know that I am, what effort is required? No effort is required, because that I is self-effulgent. That I is very existence, is very awareness. And therefore, when I know the Lord as the very self, then I can never be away from Him. He can never be away from my thoughts at all, because even very thinking requires the self. And therefore, Chintayanto Mam, all the time dwelling upon me, all the time abiding in me. Mam Chintayanta, they see me everywhere. Aham Harihi Saramidam Janardana. I am Hari, all of this is Janardana. Hari and Janardana are one alone. Thus, they appreciate Narayana as their very self, they appreciate the whole universe as Narayana. Yatra yatra manoyadi, tatra tatra samadhaya. There's a beautiful text in Vedanta called Drisya Vivekana. It says, Dehabhimane galite vijñāte paramatmani. See, what happens is, these devotees who want to always serve the Lord, they want to offer something, make an offering to the Lord, but they still want to hold on to something with themselves, and that is what? Their individuality. That they don't want to offer to the Lord. Naivedya I will offer, Chappan Bhoga I will offer, Annakuta I will offer, but my individuality, that I will retain. Oh, that is a final offering. Even that is also offered. Deha abhimane galite. So when that abhimana, identification with the individuality also is given up, that is also made offered. Vijñāte Paramatmani. When Paramatma is known as my very self, Yatra yatra manoyati tatra tatra samadhaya. Then that God doesn't remain merely in that form, one form. Yatra yatra manoyati. Wherever my mind goes, tatra tatra samadhaya. That is where the darshan of the Lord. Because one Narayana, that we have been discussing, Matsani sarabhutani, nachaham teshu vastita, nacha matsani bhutani. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina. We discuss how one Lord alone is manifest as his whole universe. And when that Lord is known, wherever my mind goes, there is darshan of Narayana. So when I am doing my vyavhara, then also a darshan of Narayana. When I am not doing vyavhara, then also I am Narayana. If I know Narayana is something different from me, then I can think of Narayana only when I am relating to him. And when that relationship is not there, I cannot think of Narayana. But here is a devotee who knows everything as Narayana, as well as his own self also as Narayana. And therefore, even when he is interacting with the world, he is only interacting with Narayana. Not interacting with the world, he is with himself, then also he is with Narayana. Mam chintayantah, always abiding in me, thinking of me. Ye janaha pariyupasate, paritahopasate, they worship me in every way. Whatever they do is worship. Yadyat karma karomi tattadakhilam shambho tavaradhanam. Oh Lord, whatever I do becomes your aradhana. Atmatvam girijamadis sahacharah prana shariram gruham pujate vishayo bhogarachana nidra samadhisthiti, says Shankaracharya. Oh Lord, you are my Atma. My buddhi is Girija, Parvati. Pranaha, sahacharaha, all my sense organs are your sahachara. They are all your servants. Shariram gruham, this body is your house, home. Pujate vishayo bhogarachana, all the vishayas, sense objects that I enjoy becomes a puja to you. Nidra samadhisthiti, when I am enjoying sleep, I am in samadhi, I am one with you. Sancharah padayoh pradakshina vidihi, wherever I walk, that is nothing but your pradakshina. Sutrane sarvagiraha, whatever I say is nothing but your stotra. Yadyat karma karomi, oh Lord, whatever karma I perform, may it become your aradhana. Paritah upasate, that whole being is upasana. And thus, so this is how when Lord is known as a self, every action becomes an offering to a Lord. At all times, at all places, never separate from him. Ye janaha paripasate. Yo mameva sammudha janati purushottamam sa sarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. Who knows me, his worship is his entire being. He worships me with his entire being. Tesham nityabhiyuktanam. These are the devotees who are always abiding in me, always joined with me, connected with me as their very self. Nitya abhiyuktanam. Yuktam is joined. Nitya, always joined with me. Always joined with me as their very self. They are never away from me. I am always in their mind. I am always in their heart. Never away from me. That means that in their life there is nothing other than me. As long as there is something else in our life, so long that will come. Lord also is a little jealous, Lord also is jealous. I say that I want you, Lord, also, but I want my new house also. It's okay, have it. I would like to have a new car, have it. As long as I want things, Lord Krishna, have them. Only when I say I don't want anything at all, I want you, then it's all right, have me. Who are these people? Nitya viyuktanam. Those people who desire nothing. Lord, I do not even want I do not want the pleasure of your seva, I just want you. Can I say that? That is the culmination of nishkamata. That rasasvada. What happens is that bhaktas do not want to give the rasasvada of seva. Am I willing to give the rasasvada also? Gaudapada talks about the obstacles to attainment of God. Rasasvada is the ultimate obstacle. That I want to enjoy him, but I still remain an enjoyer of him. Okay, do I want to give the state of enjoyership also? Yes, that's my final offering. Then there is no distance between him and myself at all. Nityabhiyuktanam. Lord Krishna says in their life, Other than me, there is no place for anything at all. They do not even worry about their life. They do not even worry about their body. They don't worry about anything. Oh Lord, when they are so devoted to you, when they are totally surrendered to you, kevalam bhagavad sharanahate. So their only sharanam, their only refuge is Bhagavan, nothing else. But when they are so devoted to you, they are so committed to you, then who takes care of them? If they don't worry about their body, if they don't worry about their well-being, if they don't worry about anything, then who worries about them? Lord Krishna says, I worry about them. Tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham aham tesham yogakshemam vahami. I take care of their yoga and kshema. What is yoga? Here yoga means attainment of what one does not have is called yoga. What is kshema? Protection of what one has. So these are the two main activities in our life, is it not? First, I want to achieve or I want to acquire what I do not have. And second, I want to protect what I have. So I build a house I do not have. That's called yoga. Then I'm worried about the security of the house. Therefore, a compound wall. And then on the compound wall, we have this barbed wire fencing. On that again something else, because acquiring and protecting. Yoga and kshema. I did not have money, I work hard to acquire money. The next worry is how to protect it. Because this fellow will take away, that fellow will take away, and then how to protect it. Yoga and kshema. For an ignorant person or for an aviveki, non-discriminating person, his life is spent merely in these two activities, yoga and kshema. Attainment of what I do not have and protection of what I have. There is no room for anything else. The devotee is the one who just doesn't want to bother about that. He is totally given surrender to the Lord. I'm not saying that you do it right away, but this is a devotee. One has to grow to that. You can't just, I can't say I'm surrendering, not just lip service to God. It is something that has to arise from within. It's a process of growth. When I discover that trust within myself, that I know He has done everything for me so far, I know that He is. And even when I think that I am doing something, in fact He alone is doing it. Somebody asked this question of Lord Krishna, how come you are partial to your devotees, that you take care of their yoga and kshema? How come you do not take up yoga kshema of other people? Lord Krishna says, because they want to take care of that, therefore I let them do that. You know this, in Bombay there are these commuter trains are there, electric trains are there. Once a fisherwoman must have come from a village, and this may be her first trip in the train. A fisherwoman entered with a huge basket of fish on her head. She entered the train. And then she stood on it. There was no room to sit down. She was standing there holding on to that bar with that huge basket, heavy basket on her head. So somebody told her, hey, why don't you put down this basket? He says, no, I have to carry it, because who will carry it? Not realizing that she herself is carried. Or like this man was once traveling from one place to the other with all his belongings on a camel. He was moving from one place to the other with all belongings on the camel. And he was passing through the desert and he saw that his camel was really exhausted. So he took pity on the camel. So all the belongings are there, he is also sitting on the camel and the camel is going. He took pity on the camel. Poor camel is burdened with so much load. Let me relieve some load. So he took a very heavy basket, and put it on his head. So you put that basket on your head, thinking that you are relieving the camel of that burden. But then your burden itself is carried by the camel. So similarly also, man thinks that I take care of my yoga. Swami, I am a self-made man, Swami Dayananji talks a lot about the self-made man. This is a tremendous complex, self-made man. But who has made you? You have not made yourself, and nothing in the life you have made yourself. Everything is given to you. not even recognizing the fact that everything has been given to you by the grace of God. No, Swamiji, I am a self-made man. I worked hard. You worked hard, that is good. But who gave you the ability to work? My intelligence, I created this. Who gave you the creativity? Who gave you the opportunity? Who gave you the skill? Who gave you the capability to work? Who gave you this? Buddhir buddhimatam asmi, tejas tejasvinamaham, balam balavatam chaham. I am the intelligence of I'm the intellect of the intelligence, and I am the strength of the strong, and I am the brilliance of the brilliant. So ignorant people think that we have to take care of the Yogakshema. Lord says, I let them do that. Here the person who doesn't bother about the Yogakshema, therefore I bother about it. That's all the difference is. Really speaking, Lord alone takes care of the Yoga and Kshema for everybody. But ignorant people feel that they have to take care of it, therefore they unnecessarily worry about it. Here is the person who worries about God, so God worries about him. If I worry about myself, well, I have to worry about myself. If I worry about God, God worries about him. Tesham nityaviyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. But this is all we have to discover. All of this is to be discovered in life. As worship of God comes in our life, as we come to know Him a little more and more, as we come to know Him more and more intimately, thus the trust develops, the Shraddha, the faith develops, and my anxiety slowly drop off. Swami, how to become free from this anxiety? Anxiety shows a lack of trust in God. What else is it? I'm not saying that we are going to have it, but then anxiety means I have to worry about myself. That means I do not recognize the fact that in fact God worries about myself anyway. He has always taken care of me. A non-recognition of that fact makes me always anxious. Tesham nityaviyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. I take care of the yoga and kshema. To such an extent that once a devotee was first praying to the Lord, oh Lord, right now I am healthy, I am all right. I am able to worship you, I am able to recite, I am able to chant your name with the help of a rosary. I can chant your name in my mouth. I can think of you. But what will happen to me when I will be on my deathbed? That time I can't even move my fingers. I can't even utter your name. What will happen to me that time? Lord, will I be deprived of uttering or reciting your name or your devotion or bhakti? Then Lord says, my child, don't worry. For the whole of your life, you have recited my name. When you fall ill, when you cannot recite my name, don't worry. I will recite my name for you. He will do that. These devatas and asuras, when they were churning that milky ocean, you know the story, they started churning. What? You know that the whole Mount Meru was so heavy. These people got exhausted in no time. Then what happened? Lord Krishna, Lord Ajita, Lord Narayana himself, they came into this devatas and asuras, he himself churned it. That's what Bhagavatam tells us. Ultimately that was churned by Lord himself. And then Amrita came out. So he is there to take care, provided we give him that responsibility. If we hold on to responsibility, Lord says, okay, fine, go ahead and fulfill, go ahead and do that. But those who are totally given into him, he says, I take care of them. And this applies at all levels. It's not me, Yogakshema does not merely mean giving us food and etc. But if I am a mumukshu, what Yogakshema I want? I want knowledge, Lord. And I want the various necessities, I want various conditions fulfilled for knowledge. I want a teacher. I want to do Shravanam, Manam, Nidhyasanam. I want knowledge. I want the various obstacles of my knowledge be removed. Lord says, I will do that. That is also devotion. Understand that pursuit of knowledge is the highest form of devotion. And Lord makes arrangement for a teacher. He makes arrangement for whatever is required. Yogakshemam vahamyam. And so, these are the devotees who are totally surrendered to him and he takes care of them. So, these are the highest forms of devotees who worry nothing at all about themselves, and therefore Lord says, I worry about them. There are less intelligent devotees. They are described in the next verse. The verse 23 says, Yepyanya devata bhaktaha yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mameva kaunteya yajantya vidhi purvakam. Ye bhi anya devata bhaktaha. So here in the previous verse, Lord Krishna talked about devotees who are devotees of Vasudeva. By Vasudeva, we do not mean the person Vasudeva. Person, that is the Lord Krishna. By Vasudeva, we mean the infinite Lord. Vasuschasavu devascha iti Vasudeva. So the derivative meaning of the word Vasudeva is one who is Vasu as well as Deva. The word Vasu is derived from the root Vas. Vas means to dwell. So Deva, the self-effulgent Lord who dwells in all the beings, is called Vasudeva. Or the self-effulgent Lord in whom the whole creation dwells also is called Vasudeva. So as the one who dwells in all the beings, he is my very self. The one in whom the whole universe dwells, he is God. So word Vasudeva in fact means both Atma as well as Paramatma. So as the one who is the dwelling place of the whole universe, he is Paramatma. As the one who dwells in all the living beings, he is the Atma. So word Vasudeva reveals the identity between Jiva and Ishvara. He is Vasudeva. That means one who worships the Vasudeva, Ananta, the limitless in the life. They were talked about. When I worship limitless, what does it mean? That means that I have no desire for any limited end. Then only I can be said to be the worshipper of, devotee of limitless. I can be said to be the devotee of limitless when I have no desire for anything limited. That means I have a total vairagya. Understand, bhakti or devotion requires total vairagya. To the extent that I have vairagya or dispassion for limited things, to that extent I can be a devotee of the Lord, the limitless. So Nishkama Bhaktas were described in the earlier verse. This verse describes what we call Sakama Bhakta. Yevi Anya Devata Bhaktaha. Lord Krishna says there are devotees who worship other devatas. They don't worship me, but they worship other devatas. You must understand what is meant by me and other devatas. Otherwise, this may be interpreted as saying that Lord Krishna here says that you should only worship me and don't worship other devatas like Shiva and other things. Worship me. That's how ISKCON people will say. So you can interpret these verses in whichever way you like. So this is a very clear statement on the part of Lord Krishna. Those who don't worship me and those who worship other devatas, they are ignorant people. What is meant by me? By me is not meant the I, the pronoun I is not used in the sense of person that Krishna is. He is used in the sense of Brahman, Jagat Karanam, Maya Tatamidam Sarvam, the limitless. So here are the rare people who are the devotees of limitless or infinite. Most of the people are devotees of the finite things. They want finite things. So that is called worshipping other devatas. Other devatas are Indra, Varuna, Yama, Agni, these are other devatas. They are what we call the presiding deities. All of them, they are responsible for functioning of this universe. So they are all responsible for certain area of the function of the universe. That's what we call devata. So in our tradition, Prithvi also is devata, Varuna also is devata, Agni also is devata, Vayu also is devata, Surya also is devata. These are all mighty powers who are responsible for the functioning of that particular aspect of the creation. So worshipping other devatas means worshipping a limited end, because other devatas only can give what is in their jurisdiction. They cannot give us limitless. Indra can give us what is in his jurisdiction, he cannot give us limitless. Varuna can give what is in his jurisdiction. So worshipping other devatas means worshipping limited ends in life. Just to tell you a little story here, you know there are many devatas and many goddesses in India. How many devis are there? Nobody even knows. Countless devis are there. In Ahmedabad, we have what we call auto rickshaws. I don't see an auto rickshaw in Kuwait. I don't see a scooter also here. I guess they don't need, when they have a car, why do they need these things? But in India, in Ahmedabad, auto rickshaws. Behind auto rickshaw, they write. So this auto rickshaw wala is a devotee of some god or the other, some devata or the other. Most of them are devotees of some devis. Melody Mata. There are different matas are there. Then I come to know how many matas are there. So there is Shitala Mata, one of the matas. So there was a devotee of the Shitala Mata, and then he was worshipping her, and then she was pleased with him, appeared before him. He says, "Hey, what do you want? What can I do for you?" So this devotee says, "Mother, give me a horse." He says, "Stupid, if I could give you a horse, why should I be riding on a donkey?" She can give what she is capable of giving. The idea is that every devata is an appointed, they are all appointed in certain jurisdiction. They all have certain powers. And what they can give us is within the jurisdiction of their power. So when Lord Krishna says, "Yebi anya devata bhaktaha," those who are devotees of other devatas, which means that those who are seeking limited ends in their life. I may be worshipping Vasudeva, but I may just want a limited end. Give me promotion. Give me a son. Please get a good match for my daughter. Or give me heaven. So whatever limited end I want, that is called worshipping the other devatas. Yajante shraddhayanvitaha. And so other devatas are Indra, Varuna, Agni, Yama, or any devata, as Ganapati, Hanuman, whatever devata. As long as I look upon that devata as a limited being, as long as I look upon Ganapati as son of Lord Shiva or as having certain powers, as long as I look upon Hanuman as having certain powers, and I worship that aspect of the devata, then I am a worshipper of a limited devata. Yajante shraddhayanvitaha. As long as this worship is performed with Shraddha, tevi mameva kaunteya yajanti. Hey Kaunteya, even then when they are worshipping other devatas, in reality they are worshipping me alone. Avidhipurvakam. But they do not know that they are worshipping me and that they worship the other limited devatas. How come they worship you when they are worshipping other devatas? The 24th verse says. So are we going up to 650? 645? Okay. Let me read this verse 24. Quickly explain that. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha natu mam abhijananti tatvena taschavanti te. Aham is sarva yajnanam bhokta. Arjuna, understand that I am the enjoyer of all the yajnas. Prabhurevacha, I am also the master of all the yajnas. That means I am the self of all the devatas. Even when I worship Ganesha or Hanuman or Devi or whoever I worship, ultimately all the devatas are nothing but the manifestations of one devata alone, of one infinite Lord alone. And therefore, I am worshipping only one. But not knowing that I am worshipping that infinite, I worship him in a limited form. Aham sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhurevacha. Ultimately, I am the Prabhu, I am the karma phala data, I am the one who gives them the result of the action. So even when I worship Indra, let us say, and I get a certain result from him, but who is Indra? That Lord alone, Vasudeva, in the form of Indra. When Indra seems to give me the result, it is Vasudeva or infinite alone is giving me. Natu mam abhijananti. But they do not know this. Tatvena na abhijananti. They do not know this truth about me, that I am the self of all the devatas. I am the karma adhyaksha. I am the karma phaladata. Not knowing that, chavandite. Therefore, they fall down or they are deprived of what result they could have gotten from their worship. Okay, we'll continue the discussion tomorrow. Om Purnamadah पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।